I'm going to keep this one as simple as I can. I'm going to do the basic things that I did in my last video, the adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing of the vectors. And the only difference is that I'm going to do the similar thing in Unity. Here I've created a brand new project. I didn't touch anything other than creating a new scene called vector scene and moving around the windows. First, let me make this 2D just like last time. And I'm going to create a 2D sprite. I'll call it 0. Make sure it says 0, 0, 0. And I'm just going to use a circle, a knob. Let me get rid of the skybox. We don't need it. Okay, so here's 0, 0, 0. I'm going to create another sphere called A. This one is going to be 1 on the X, 3 on the Y. Let me change the color. Just any random color. Let me also create B. This one will be, I guess I'll make it -1 and 1, kind of like last time. Or was it 1 and -1? We don't need the lighting either. Let me just get rid of that. Okay, now I'm going to add this vector with this vector. For that, I'm going to create another sphere. I'll call this one C. I'll create a script called C. This is going to be a simple script. We're going to take a look at the game object A and game object B. We're going to use those to get the vectors. And right in the beginning of the game, the C transform is going to be A plus B. A's position plus B's position. Save. I'm going to go back to Unity, add the script, drag in A and B, and now if I play, we get a new position for C. And like I explained in my last video, a vector, this vector is not just the position, it's also an arrow that goes from 0, 0 to the position. Same thing with this vector. And when you add these two vectors, we get a new vector. You can think of it as adding the two different arrows, and A plus B and B plus A end up in the same position. So adding is pretty easy. Let me now get to subtracting. Let me create another sphere called D. A new script called D. And this is going to be very similar, except we're going to do A minus B or B minus A. So public game object A, public game object B. We look at D position and we do A minus B. Save, and I'm going to add all the components back in the editor. D for D, drag in A and B, and if I play, so here's D. If you remember my last video, I said subtracting two vectors is like getting the to and the from. So from B to A would be B to A. And if we use the same vector to determine the position for D, we get the same direction and the magnitude from 0, 0. So from here to D is the exact same magnitude and the length from B to A. Let's try going the other way. Let me put this as 0, 0. And back in the code, instead of going from B to A, I'm going to go A A to B. So let me add some notes here. This is B to A, and this is A to B. If I go back and play, okay, here's D in the opposite direction. So when you're subtracting, the direction is important. This time we're going from A to B, and we get the exact same vector from the 0 position. And also remember that I said not everything has to start at 0. Let me go back to the code for D. And here, let me create a new game object called E. And this time, I'm going to say, starting from E, we're going to go A to B. So the position is going to, first we add the E position, and then we add A to B. Save, and let's go back and set up the editor. I'm going to create E. And place it at a random position. And for D, drag in the variable. And if I play, okay, here's D. So here what we're doing is, first we're getting the E position, and then we go A to B. We get the vector, which is A to B, which will give you this new position. Now let's do multiplying. I'm going to create F. Oh wait, I forgot to exit play mode. Let me create F again. A new script called F. Now this time, I'm going to multiply a vector using A and B. Or let's just use A. So for F position, we're going to get vector A and multiply it by 2. Save, and let's see what happens. So here's the F script. Add A and play. Okay, here's F. So the A vector, vector A is here, and when you multiply that by 2, we get a new vector that is twice the magnitude, but the same direction. Magnitude is 1 here, and this magnitude would be 2. And I'll try something similar, dividing. I'll create G. A new script called G. And again, I'm going to get the A vector and G position. We get a vector from A, and this time I'll try dividing by 3. Save, and I gotta set it up again. For G, drag in A and play. Okay, it's a little harder to see, but here's G. So A vector, the magnitude for A would be 1, and if you divide it by 3, we get 3 equal length, and this vector would be 1 in terms of magnitude. This entire vector would be magnitude of 3. Okay, so now you see that you can do simple arithmetics to determine certain positions of your game objects in your scene. And doing this in 3D is exactly the same. You're just adding one more axis, which is Z, and I think I'm going to start doing that in the next video. So that's it for this one. You can reach me on my Discord server. I have all the links below. And thanks for watching.